Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to a video. I was tempted to say Super Fun Sunday, but that would be inaccurate because it's Thursday, and also this isn't going to be super fun. Now it will be. I'm taking a sip of water. So for Inktober, what I thought I would do is I'm going to do a month of inking stuff for my Patreon, but I figured let's put a lot of exposure on inking this month also on YouTube just in general. I think it's something that I wouldn't say is overlooked or underappreciated, but yet at times it is. So this is going to kill two birds with one stone on this video. This is Doug Mahnke work that I inked not too long ago, actually, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and all these originals are for sale. So if anyone is interested in any of the pieces, I mean, the spreads are pretty expensive, honestly. I mean, a spread like this would be probably, I mean, it's close to 2,000, but I'm not going to price all this stuff in this video, but his interior pages go from anywhere from like 150 to like 450-ish. So if you do see anything that you want, let me know. I mean, I'll definitely give you a good deal and maybe even a YouTube discount. So, yeah, but what I thought we would do is we would just look at the work and talk about inking a little bit. Let me do some housekeeping really quickly first, so I get my head together. I literally just got back from an hour walk, so I'm like, it's super hot here. I actually feel pretty good. It was weird. For as hot as it was, I wasn't very sweaty today. But yeah, so the last 2 days, I think it was the last 2 days. Yeah, it was, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday. So we did Canetti, and then we had a Kelsey video where we looked at Frank Turan. And so I learned a lot the last 2 days communicating with these amazing artists and talking about art and dissecting art has been very, very interesting for me. And as many questions as it's answering, as I look at more art, I start to raise new questions. So I'm very, very excited to continue doing this. And it's been great. So this is what I would recommend. I know that those videos are long, but give them a shot and check them out and see what you think, especially if you're interested in art, because it's not just so much about, you know, like we looked at Frank Turan's work. There's a lot of just general gems of wisdom in there, and there's critical thinking and problem solving that you're listening to professional artists dissect. So there's a value to that too, because you start to see really what artists look for in art and what we're concerned with, and so it can I think cover a lot of ground. So anyway, let's talk about this Doug Mahnke job for a little bit. So I've been a fan of Doug's work for a long time. Never in a million years did I ever think that I would have the opportunity to ink him, so it was a neat treat when it fell into my lap. And you know, my references to Doug's work is generally, it's similar to Patrick Gleason, where the way that I've seen both of those guys inked, it's generally pretty, I don't want to use the word heavy-handed. It's a very bold line. It's a very brushy line, and I'm a big fan of that. But when you see their pencils, you see these other character traits in it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they want you to amplify them, but I see it in their work. I see a sketchy quality in places. I see maybe a spontaneity, and for whatever reason, I don't even know if I would call artist. It sounds a little egotistical to say that, but what I mean is my interpretation of it ends up being that I kind of want to keep that in, but I also want to do what I guess an inker is expected to do, which is to sort of perfect things if you look at inking that way. And you know, I mean, the first time that I crossed that bridge was with Chris Bacalo, because I had always been a bigger fan. Not I don't know if bigger would be the right word. It sounds weird when I say it like that. I had been a big fan of what Mark Buckingham and Chris had done together, and Art T. Bear did an incredible job on Chris on the X-Men, and Tim Townsend, I think, had been inking him a bit too, either before that, maybe a little bit before that. I kind of feel like Art T. Bear was inking him right before I worked on him. But anyway, like I didn't want to pull Chris in such a clean way as much as I wanted to have some cleanness, but then also some grit. So with Doug's stuff, I kind of tried to do that. Now, when I look at inks like that, there is this part of me, and especially since I did it myself, as you go, like, was it too organic? Were the shapes too sort of meh, like undecisive? Or did it work or not, you know? And sometimes you'll, like honestly, it's interesting. I won't name the names because some of them are tied into like long relationships of working together. But I've worked with people and had a lot of reaction from fans going, you know, this sounds a little weird, but I kind of like what you did on them better than what they normally get. And you know, I mean, you take that as a compliment, but I don't let it go to my head because it's like, what are they going to say to you anyway? Of course they're going to compliment you. They're not going to go, oh, you were the worst inker ever on this stuff. But anyway, so yeah, so this is Justice League. I tried to make it pop. I tried to make it bold, but I also just saw this really, really fun line quality to his stuff and this sketchy quality that I really kind of wanted to keep in his work. So I tried to blend the two, but this was, I think, the very first piece that I inked over him. Or no, there's a cornfield piece. It won't be in here. All the art that I'm showing is the art that I own. So this isn't all from one issue. This is from two different issues of Justice League. Anyway, so yeah, let's look at the next one. Beautiful, beautiful page. Oh my god. So kick-ass. And again, I'm nearly sure that all of these are the ones that I have for sale. So if you see a page that you want, just write me at blasterkidcomic@gmail.com. All one big chunky word. blasterkidcomic@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you. Just put original art, and you can tell me which page it is. Just describe it or give me a time stamp, a ballpark of when it was in the video. This is awesome. It is such a great page. And again, trying to keep... It's interesting seeing this stuff now. So when I inked it, I liked it. And the originals look great. That's the other thing, too. And these are inked over the original pencils, by the way, because people will ask. The originals look great. Whenever I scan art, I have this sort of secondary reaction where I don't like it as much. And then for the next several months or years, whenever I look at the scans, all I'll see is that I think that I could have done a better job. But right now, these pages are actually looking pretty good to me. So he has real heavy blacks. There's a very bold quality to his stuff, and it's very, very shape-oriented. Doug is actually one of the loosest pencilers that I've ever inked. I don't have scans of his pencils, but Doug really goes in and expects you as an inker to really know your job. It's all there for you, but boy, it could be interpreted a lot of different ways. At times, I almost was trying to get not like trying to inject it in his stuff, but I would get like almost like a tiny bit of like a Lanil U vibe out of his work. And I have inked Lanil, and so you know, I had some experience with that. And then Dave Barron did a beautiful, beautiful job on the colors for this. And look at this, kind of a fun panel border shape. But yeah, it was, you really had to pay attention to what was down and then use your drawing muscles to kind of make sure that everything was locked in. Because if not, things could be crooked or really weird. This is another beautiful spread that I have. Just a gorgeous piece, you know. I mean, you've got all the Justice League fighting, Flash knocked out. It's very, very cool. Very, very cool stuff. I could have gone crazier with the splatter. I didn't really feel like his work needed it. I try to judiciously allocate stuff like that, special effects, unless I know someone's going for a real gritty thing. But even like on the rocks, I keep it pretty simple. I don't like to overdo things. Now on my own stuff, it's a different story. I can make the call and go like, I want black splatter, I want white splatter and stuff like that. But for this, I'm trying to remember. I don't even think it's splatter. I actually think I went in and did the stars by hand. I could be wrong on that, but I kind of think that I did. But yeah, very, very killer piece. So cool. How do you celebrate Inktober? Do you celebrate it? Is Inktober still a thing that people are into? I don't even know. I've never done it. My whole life was Inktober for years. Every day was Inktober. This is great. I really took my time with this top panel because it was one of those things where I knew that, man, it had to be like really, really spot on or it was going to look stupid. And this, all these little faces, man, you've just got to nail this stuff. You can't mess around. It's so important. When I give reviews for people, what'll end up happening is someone will ink a piece like this, just as an example, and they'll do such a nice job, and then they get bored, and they start to drift on like little stuff like this, and it's like you go, no, 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 no. You don't spend that much time on a piece to blank out on like a little tiny Superman head or something like that. You have to keep the focus and momentum going throughout the whole piece. And in fact, the last 20 yards to the finish line, the touchdown, is probably the most important, because at that point you've probably inked all the fun stuff, and all that's left is the stuff that can kind of make or break the piece completely gelling is the thing. This is a very, very difficult piece to ink because the black on a piece will support poor choices, because black, you can't really mess up black. As long as you outline it accurately, it's going to look pretty good. Where you can make a lot of bad calls is on stuff like this, where you've got weird little tentacles and little scales and smoke billowing and all this stuff. And yeah, you know, if you don't pay attention, it'll look weird, and it'll look flat, or it'll look too heavy or whatever, and like a brick wall, same deal. It's like you have to keep the style pretty consistent. Windows and stuff like that, you can't have a set of lines drift and be crooked, or you know, I mean, if you actually really look, every one of these, I have my top line is a little thinner than this bottom thicker line, and probably more likely if you looked at the lines going straight up and down, I generally will have one side a little bit thicker. So I think this is the thinner side and the right side is a little bit thicker. But, you know, I mean, it's all like kind of intentional stuff. I just don't take one pen and just draw lines. So, happy Inktober. I got this page. Bam. 2 of these pages have sold. I can't remember which 2 it is, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, like I said, if there's one that you see that you're interested in buying, let me know, and I'll check my pile of originals. They may not be in here. I just kind of searched my desktop folders and found a bunch of these, and this is a great page. Again, this is another one where, you know, you have to knuckle down. There's a lot going on this piece, and I couldn't afford to drift. Every line was expensive. Every line mattered, you know. So you do the best that you can. The deadlines were not great. It was one of those things where sometimes it's difficult to get the pages into the inker's hands. Like the penciler may have them done but hadn't sent them out, kind of deal. And so you have to yeah, you gotta kind of have to be ready to go. This is a funny page. This one I could do pretty cheap because statalicious. But this is another thing too, where really had to take my time and make sure that I was putting in shapes that would work with the perspective and the thing like that, because it's like, you know, I mean, he had his shapes in. I mean, it was definitely suggested, but if I was drifting, it would look weird. You know, the perspective could drop or sink, or buildings could look overly crooked where it would be very, very noticeable. So have to be careful, and then also keep somewhat of an organic quality with it too. And like I said, in person, these pages look, I think, even better. They really were looking nice. Like these faces and stuff like that are really, really sharp. And almost my ink line here looks a little bit like Trevor Scott on Frank Quietly. Here, not as much, but this one in particular, it's got a little bit of that sort of bouncy thing that Trevor Scott did. It wasn't really intentional, but seeing it now, I can kind of see it in the work. This is a very, very cool spread. So a lot of great pages in this book. It's rare. It's honestly rare that you work on a superhero comic with this much action and cool stuff. So for an art collector, these books are actually a little bit of a gold mine, because it's, you know, you can do a 20-page book and have, you know, 10 or 15 pages of stuff that just really isn't like that flashy and splashy. Damn. Boom, 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 boom. Go, Soups. This has a little of a Lineal U vibe to me, just the way that it's posed, not so much the inks, but this is cool too. Man, that guy looks tough. Tough stuff. Did a little bit of white in the rendering here. Let's try something. Could have maybe put a little bit more sort of detail in the hair through here. Seeing it now. I know, though, based on other stuff that I had seen inked of his, because that was actually what I had done, is I went and looked at 2 comics that had been inked by someone else more recently and saw what they did, and they were leaving stuff like this. So I stuck with that because it seemed to color well. So these more cartoony shapes and sort of things like that seem to amplify the Doug Mahnke-ness of the art. All right, this page did sell. This was one of the ones that I'm nearly sure sold. So, all right, have a great day. Let me know if you're interested in any of the art. Happy Inktober. I hope everyone has a blast inking things. And I've got some Patreon videos to do, and then I need to get to work. It's time to pencil. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. It's Pencil-tober for me. All right, later. Bye.